How you doing? This week's Sports Tip of the Week is brought to you by me, Kody Smith. Just going to be talking this week about hip mobility. I know I did a segment on stretching a little bit ago, but this week we're going to be talking more so about hip mobility, just because it's been something that's been very prevalent with me the last couple of days to a week or so, and I just kind of wanted to, kind of reach out and give a little bit of advice on that. Hip mobility is definitely probably one of the most important factors when we talk about speed, agility, power, all that other stuff. Think of your hips as a rubber band, right? The harder you stretch, the bigger you stretch a rubber band, the harder the snapback is going to be, because you've applied a lot of force to that rubber band, and its natural reaction is to snap back to its form. And that's kind of the same concept to your muscles. Your muscles have a specified length that they're at, and when you stretch them, their natural reaction is to tighten back up. And that's what we see happen when we see a vertical jump or a broad jump. You see people really go down and load their hips up and then drive with their arms and explode through their stance, through their hips and lower bottom area. And without hip mobility, obviously that range of motion is going to be limited, and that's going to limit the amount of power we can exert through our jumping abilities, right? So good hip mobility is key, being able to stretch those hips out, being able to open up your stride and speed, because speed is a two-part area. It's stride frequency and stride length, okay? And if your hips are tight, obviously your stride length is going to be limited. So that's that. In terms of injury, okay, if we have tight hips, and I see this a lot at NSU, guys coming to me and saying, oh, my hips bother me a little bit, coach, what can I do? What can I do? So I've actually been developing for a few players, and even my brother, he runs the obstacle races, warrior dashes, Spartan races, all those, and he was having some hip issues as well. And so what I did was I programmed a little hip maintenance and strength program, because a lot of people, they think, squats, bench press, the big lifts, to really get the muscles going, and they really neglect the stabilizer muscles. They neglect the smaller muscles that are almost more important than the big muscles, because if you don't have good support in your joints, even through those little stabilizer muscles, then that's when, you get injured, a joint's not feeling right, and then now we can't even train at all to get those big muscles. And especially in kids when they're young, you want to really never neglect. You really want to focus in on the stabilizer muscles, the tendons, ligaments, and developing the strength in those guys first before you start to really load them up on a bench or a back squat or something like that. So good hip mobility can definitely forego a lot of injuries as well. And we can see that through just, like we have our warm-up this month, just doing a leg stacked, hip abduction, just raising the leg away from the body, supine leg kicks, just really targeting those, and just all body weight work, nothing crazy, just really targeting those hip areas to keep them strong and to keep them flexible, just making sure we're stretching before, in a dynamic way, our workouts, and then after we can do a little static stretching. So yeah, that's this week's Sports Tip of the Week, just kind of, keeping those hips strong, keeping those hips mobile, because your hip mobility is definitely going to affect your speed and agility in every way. Probably the most important aspect of speed and agility and power is a hip mobility. So just making sure that we're getting things right on the hips, and maintaining the strength in those as well, to prevent injury and to increase our power output as far as being able to load those hips and explode out, due to acceleration, top end speed, and agility, of course, changing direction, change of direction, going side to side, getting around a cone, getting around a defender, whatever the case may be. So that's our Sports Tip of the Week this week. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them, and I'll be happy to get back to you and talk to you about it a little bit. All right? Have a great week.